जय बाबा। फिकर सबको खा गई, फिकर सबका पीर, फिकर की जो फाकी करे उसका नाम फकीर। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। Thanks to beloved Baba and Jai Baba to all of you. Since we are doing the chapter on fikr, which is worry, I felt like quoting this as I did last session. All right. So now we are reading the path of love, and the page number is 117. This is the path of love by Meher Baba. Page number is 117. The chapter is on worry.
Everything emanates from me but is not real. If you were dreaming and I appeared in your dream and told you you were dreaming, it is not real, you would say, Baba, I'm enjoying these things. I know they are real. It is hard to understand. In your awake dream, I tell you now, nothing is real, so don't worry. How to stop? Think of me, love me. Christ said with divine authority, your sins are forgiven. And I say with divine authority, love me and your worries will vanish. Reality is impossible to describe. It is difficult to attain. One in a million becomes a lover of God, and of a million lovers, one gets realization. It sounds impossible. Baba says, you have an opportunity because I am here with you and I say, love me.
We are, for the last 2 sessions, we've been talking about worry. And the underlying principle of not worrying is to know that we are not this body, is to know that all our associations, yesterday Baba said, you have had so many wives, you have had millions of children and all that. So in other words, all these associations that we are having in this particular form and in this particular life are temporary. They are there because of our past connections or karmas. But unfortunately, we have created a lagav, a lagan, an attachment to all these things, as a result of which we are worried. If we were to really know our past several lives, forget about millions, even past 5 to 10 lives, automatically we realize that this is so transient, this is so impermanent, and there is actually no room for worry. There is no place for worry. Worry seeps in because of the wrong sense of who we really are. Baba says, time and time again in so many different words, that suffering is because of the ignorance, our ignorance of the true nature of the self. The self is one, it is all unity, everything is in that one, but unfortunately we feel ourselves separate and therefore we worry. Here Baba is saying everything emanates from me but is not real. Everything emanates from me but it is not real. Only Baba is real. At one time, Baba had in a Savas program, he was talking about all the beautiful things that are there in the world, like rivers and mountains and sunrise and sunset and stars and meteors and all these things. We say there's so much of beauty in it. And at one time, he said that this is nothing but my, what should I say, my excreta, my fecus. So, in other words, he is throwing out. If that is so wonderful, if that is so beautiful, so just imagine the beauty of the one who is throwing it out. So here, Baba says that everything emanates from me, but is not real. If you were dreaming and I appear in your dream and told you you were dreaming, it is not real. You would say, Baba, I am enjoying these things. I know they are real. We have been doing this over and over again, that a dream becomes a dream only when you wake up. When howsoever beautiful the dream may be, or howsoever nightmarish it may be, within a very short period of few hours, you wake up and then you realize, oh, it was just a dream. So Baba says, from the standpoint of truth, reality, advait, oneness, all this that we are experiencing in our so-called awake state, which Baba calls it a false awake state. Baba says all this that you are going through, all the troubles that you have gone through, all the wealth that you have amassed, everything that is just a dream. But when will we know this as a dream? We don't consider this as a dream, obviously not. We will know this as a dream only when we wake up. That means our final awakening, when it takes place, we will realize that yes, what Baba was saying is the truth. Just as how, as long as we are dreaming, we do not realize that dream as a dream. We take that as a reality. So Baba says, you will say, Baba, I'm enjoying all these things. I know they are real. It is hard to understand in your awake dream. This is called the awake dream. I tell you now, nothing is real. So don't worry. Baba is very emphatically saying over and over again, I tell you now, nothing is real. And then Baba goes on to say, so don't worry. How to stop? Now, how to stop? Baba says, think of me, love me. Christ said with divine authority, your sins are forgiven. And I say with divine authority, love me and your worries will vanish. So Baba again and again have been emphasizing on loving him, on having absolute faith on him, on trusting him, on constantly making him our companion. So, in other words, when we are focusing our attention on the form, Baba, after all, is just a form, on a form of the truth, then by and by, our focus from all that is unreal gradually reduces. And when our focus from the unreal reduces, the unreal does not impact us, does not affect us, does not trouble us, does not worry us. That's the simple logic, that you focus on the truth, and obviously the untruth will not bother you. Like Baba saying that I am like the sun, and when you are facing the sun, your shadow will be behind you, and the shadow will not trouble you. By shadow, it means all these worries, troubles, anxiety, stress, whatever you call it. They will all be behind you. They will be there, but it won't affect you, it won't bother you. But if you turn your face away from the sun, then obviously the shadow will be in front of us. And if it is in front of us, it will definitely trouble us. So as I understand, logic is the more we love Baba, the more we make him our constant companion, the more we are focused on him, automatically the less we are focused on that which is unimportant, which is unreal. And the less we focus on the unreal, the less it will affect us or impact us in our moment to moment living. Reality is impossible to describe. Obviously, you cannot describe the truth or reality. You cannot even define the truth, because this is again my understanding. By definition, by definition, any defining or any definition is limiting it. That means other than this, the truth is not there. It's something like that. So you cannot define a truth, you cannot understand the truth, you cannot box a truth into something. This is truth, because the moment you do this, you are making it little fine. You are making it finite. You are circumscribing it. That's correct. You can only become the truth. You cannot understand the truth. You cannot explain the truth. You cannot talk about the truth. Only thing you can do is you can become the truth. So here Baba says, reality is impossible to describe. It is difficult to attain. One in a million. becomes a lover of God. Imagine 1 in a million becomes a lover of God. And lover of God means a lover of God. That means he has no other business, no other activity except to love God. And of 1 million lovers, one get realization. It sounds impossible, but Baba says, you have an opportunity because I am here with you and I say, love me. The opportunity for us also is that Baba is still very much available to all of us. Because Baba had himself said that about 100 years after his manifestation, his prabhav, his vibrancy, his potency, his reality is still amongst each one of us. So we still have time to accept that truth and hopefully jump over the domain of illusion and come to the domain of the truth.
Duality signifies separateness. Separateness implies fear. Fear causes worry. The way of oneness is the way to happiness. The way of manyness leads to worries. I am the only one without a second. So I am eternally happy. You are separate from yourself. So you always worry. To you, what you see is absolutely real. To me, it is absolutely false. I alone am real, and my marji, will, governs the cosmic illusion. It is the truth when I say that the waves do not roll or the leaves do not move without my will. The moment the intensity of your faith in my will reaches the apex, you bid adieu to worry for good. Then all that you suffered and enjoyed in the past, together with all that you may experience in the future, will be to you the most loving and spontaneous expression of my will. And as the lover places the will of the beloved above all else, there is nothing which can cause worry. Think of me more and more, and all your worries will dwindle into nothing, for they are really nothing. And my will works out to awaken this in you and in all.
Duality, dui, signifies separateness, good and bad, right and wrong, high and low, up and down, etc. Duality signifies separateness. Separateness implies fear, and fear causes worry. So why do we worry? Because of some fear. Why do we worry? Because of some anxiety. Why do we worry? Because we think something will happen which will be against our interest, which will be hampering us, which would be harming us, which would be hurting us. But that when something is harming me or hurting me, it obviously means that there is separateness. There is you and I. But in truth, there is only one. So that is where Baba is leading us to, in order to at least intellectually, at least from the standpoint of our intellect, we try to understand that in reality there is only one. The way of happiness, the way of oneness is the way to happiness. That means the way of duality is the way to suffering, and the way of oneness is leading us towards happiness. Once we realize that we are all one, then automatically there is no question of any of those aspects of hatred, jealousy, etc. And I have said this over and over again in various forums, which is a very practical thing to follow if we have the courage and the wisdom to do it. And I say we because it includes me as well. There was a jnani by the name Nisargadatta Maharaj. And he was not lettered, means he did not go to school, he did not know how to read and write, you know. But he was a jnani, which means he knew everything. He had attained that knowledge. And he was a pan patti wala. He used to have a BD shop, a pan shop, and all that. And somebody asked him as to how come, when you have not even studied any books or anything, how come you got this knowledge? How is it that you are experiencing this jnana? And the superb reply which he gave was that my master, that means his master, told him once, whatever the name may be, he's known as Nisargadatta Maharaj, but his name may be something else, that you are infinite and you are eternal. What did the master say? The master told him, you are infinite and you are eternal. Now, there must be such a lot of preparedness of that particular soul that he just soaked in. He actually soaked himself in the statement, very simple statement, in the two statements given to him directly by his master. I am infinite, which means what? That I am not this body. That means I am everything. I am in everything. There is not a single place where I am not there, where I am not. So that is the meaning of infinity. And the master also said that you are eternal. That means you always were, you are, and you ever will remain. Now, when these two thoughts, he started behaving as if, there is a law called law of as if. Supposing I say, I talk to myself and as if I am healthy, as if I am rich, as if I am strong. And if we continuously think and remain in that, you can say, domain, then that as if is a law that it will convert your being into that. But it has to be very deep and it has to be very sincere. So he started behaving as if he is eternal and as if he is infinite. So imagine when you start behaving that I am infinite and I am eternal, then where is the fear? Where is the worry? Where is the hatred? Whom do you hate? Because the person whom you are hating is also a part of you. Whom will you be jealous about? It's you, it is you only. So all these so-called lower self, we call it hatred, greed, pride, jealousy, envy, whatever it is, it all automatically, gradually got dissolved and he became what his master said he was, infinite and eternal. He has written a very beautiful book called I Am That. If you get a chance and if you are a good reader, you can read that. It's very beautiful in terms of consciousness. Although at places it may not tally exactly with what Baba is talking about, the evolution of consciousness, but all the same, it's a very wonderful book. So here Baba says the way of oneness is the way to happiness. He felt that everything is one. There is no other. And that is the principle on which even the law of karma functions. The law of karma says that if you do some good to somebody, then good will come back to you. Or if you do something wrong to somebody, the wrong will come back to you. But here, where there is no other, in other words, if you do good to somebody, you have already done it to yourself because there is no other. In the same way, the same applies to something which you're doing wrong. So the law is really very, say very clear, crystal clear. But because of our ignorance, because we are so much bombarded with Maya that we fail to understand. We read this, we feel, yes, correct. But then again, we are overpowered by Maya. The way to oneness is the way to happiness because there is no other. You are always happy. Nobody is there to trouble you, to worry you, to create anxiety for you. Nothing, nothing, nothing. To create fear for you. Nothing. Because it is all one. The way to oneness is the way to happiness. The way of manyness leads to worries. The moment there is duality, manyness, then it leads to worry. I am the only one, Baba says, without a second. So I am eternally happy because he sees and experiences himself in everyone and in everything. So there is no cause for worry or stress or anxiety or fear or whatever. You are separated from yourself. Capital S. You are separated from yourself. The point is here is my understanding. You can never be separated from yourself. You are never separated. But Baba says you are separated means your experience about yourself in the domain of illusion is that you are other than yourself. Capital S. That means you are your body, you are your imagination, you are your thoughts, you are your feelings, you are your emotions, but you are not connected with yourself, which is the soul or the Atma or whatever word that we want to use it. So here Baba says you are separate from yourself, so you always worry. To you, what you see is absolutely real. Whatever we see, whatever we experience, to all of us, it is real. And because we feel it is real, it affects us, it impacts us. If at all we felt that it was not real, it would not affect us. If you go to a movie with a firm stand that this is just a movie, irrespective of what is happening out there on the screen, it is just a movie. Nothing really is happening. The screen is as it is. If the fire is there on the screen, it doesn't mean that the screen is burning. The screen is as cool as anything. You see, or if the shooting is happening, it doesn't mean that there'll be holes, bullet holes in the screen. So if you go with that bent of mind, and if you go to a movie theater, it won't affect you. You know it is just a show. In the same way, if we cultivate our mindset in such a way that all this is happening is unreal, it is not real, then obviously it will not affect us. So here Baba says, to you, what you see is absolutely real. That is what we feel. To me, it is absolutely false. For those who have realized the truth, they realize that all this, all the three worlds, the mental, the subtle, and the gross, is nothing but a shadow. It's a dream. It's a zero. It has no astikva. It is existing in the domain of non existence, and therefore it is absolutely worthless. The only worth it has is to help us to reach the truth. Other than that worth, the so called Maya illusion creation has no worth. The only reason why creation came into creation is to answer the first question, who am I? In other words, it is like an incubator. I keep repeating this. It is like an incubator in which the consciousness of the soul incubates and becomes perfect and realizes that I, as the creature or as the created, is actually the creator. So that is the only purpose the creation is meant for. But we get so entwined into creation that we fear, we worry, we are anxious, we cry, we whatever. So here Baba says, to you, whatever you see is absolutely real. To me, it is absolutely false. I alone am real, and my marji would be will. I alone am real, and my marji will governs the cosmic illusion. This is a cosmic illusion, and it is governed by the will of God. And to my understanding, we've been repeatedly saying this, that what is God's will? Baba says, my will is law. That means he is so management guru, you can say. He is so smart that he did not want to involve himself with all the chota mota cheese, to put you, whatever we call it. He has just instituted a law. And the law functions beautifully, flawlessly, meticulously, the law of karma. As you sow, so shall you reap. Do good to others and good will come back to you, etc. etc. Have you read this? So you read the whole thing, yeah. Then Baba goes on to say, it is the truth when I say that the waves do not roll or the leaves do not move without my will. The waves do not roll. Why do the waves roll? God's will. But what is this? What is the God's will in this? The power of attraction. We all know the moon, all the celestial, the planets and bodies, they exert a certain influence. They exert a certain energy. They exert a certain magnetism, and that is the reason there is the high tide and the ebb. So it is actually happening according to the law. And what is that law called? The law is God's will. I would interpret in that way that the waves do not roll or the leaves do not move without my will. Why do the leaves move? Because of the wind. The wind also, everything happens according to the law. In other words, everything happens according to God's will. Now, Baba himself has given this example, and he has given a very peculiar, I don't know why he used that place, that if a king of a place wants to know a particular person who is living in Kamatipura. This is the word. Kamatipura is a red light area in Bombay. I don't know why he used that word. Means it is not that he knows everything, but he has the means to know. At his fingertips, he can just call up somebody. He can just ask somebody, and he can know exactly where a particular person is living, who is he, what does he do, etc., etc. I think in the same way, Baba has the necessary wherewithal to know everything that he wishes to know. It does not mean that he applies his mind in everything all the time. He doesn't have to apply his mind at all. He's beyond mind. That is the reason why when we sometimes say, oh, people say, Baba, I remembered you and this miracle happened. You helped me out and you did this and you did that. And Baba says, I swear, I do not know anything about it. I don't know it. It is news to me. He would even encourage the person to tell what happened, tell me. And it is not just acting, it is not just a pretense. He really does not know because he has not applied his consciousness to do that. But something happened. Maybe there are agents, God's agents. We call them abdals. They are like, they are God's agent. The moment somebody calls out for help, the agents will do the work for the master and the thing is done. So, coming back to what we are trying to say is that Baba's will means the law. Everything happens according to the law. The moment the intensity of your faith in my will, again, I understand, moment the intensity of your faith in the law which I have instituted reaches the apex. That means the moment you understand that everything happens according to the law. You bid adieu. Adieu would mean bye bye, farewell, goodbye, tata, bye bye, like that. To worry for good. That means we are worried because we have no faith in the will of God. We have no faith that everything that is happening to us is happening according to Baba's will, is happening according to the law, is happening because it has to happen. And why it has to happen is because I have done something in the past which has caused this happening. This is my reading of Baba's words, that everything is just beautifully prearranged according to the law. And the moment you feel that everything is happening according to God's will, then you will do whatever needs to be done at that point in time, but you will not worry. We are doing a chapter on worry, so the emphasis is on not worrying, because worry has never, there's another discourse, it is not here, worry has never helped anybody anywhere in anything. It never helps. It only sucks you. It only makes you less efficient, less impactful. So why should we do that? Knowing that it is harming us, it is actually not of service to me. It is of disservice to me. Why should I indulge in worry? So I'm repeating this last sentence, which is a very beautiful sentence. The moment the intensity of your faith in my will reaches the apex, the height, the absolute height, you bid adieu to worry for good. That means you know that there is nothing to worry. Things are not happening according to your requirements. Fine, you handle it, you face it bravely, courageously, kindly. Then all that you suffered and enjoyed in the past, together with all that you may experience in the future, will be to you the most loving and spontaneous expression of my will. That means once we are established in the truth of everything happening according to Baba's will, then we bid goodbye, farewell to all the worry. And then what will happen? Baba says that all that you have experienced, all all that you have enjoyed and suffered in the past, together with all that you may experience in the future, will be to you the most loving and spontaneous expression of my will. That means now you are totally established that the law operates immaculately, faultlessly, flawlessly, right? And as the lover places the will of the beloved above all else, there is nothing which can cause worry. The moment you realize that everything is happening according to the will of Baba, and since we are placing our absolute faith in the will of Baba, then Baba says that nothing can cause you worry. And then the last paragraph reads, think of me more and more, and all your worries will dwindle into nothing, for they really are nothing. For they are really nothing. Baba says, the more you think of me, the less you have time for worry. And my will works out to awaken this in you and in all. Baba says, my will works out to awaken this in you. What awakening? What? Awakening that everything happens by Baba's will. So here we end this chapter. Then thank you, Baba. Thank you very much, all of you. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Yeah.
Thank you, Baba.